watching My News 26. I'm Paula Jasper. Today I'm at Reed City High School, and joining me is science teacher Brad Smith. Thanks for joining me, Brad.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Now we're going to talk robotics.
Yep. Robotics
Programs in high schools and in general are getting very, very popular. Tell us about your class here at Reed City. How long have you had one?
We have had this club. It's an after-school club that runs since 2010. Actually, I'll take that back. It was 2011 was actually the first competition year. But we started in 2010 in December, November, organizing the group together.
Okay, now tell me about the competitions. Where do they take place? How many are there? How does that work?
The competitions are U.S. First Robotics. There's competitions all over the state. What you do is you get a problem to solve. They give you, as the initial kickoff, like a 2 to 3 minute video that shows you the game. And so then from there, what you end up doing is you go back, you design it, and you get 6 weeks to build, design, and program your robot to function and compete at these games. After that, they're all around the state. Traverse City hosts one, Midland had some, Grand Valley. They're just for the next 4 weeks or so after the build season ends, they have these competitions and then eventually qualify for state competition at Grand Rapids this year.
And how long do you have to build it after you find out the goal?
It's approximately 6 weeks. They give you from the first part of January. I think this year was like January 3rd or 4th was the kickoff date, and then we had till February 19th to finish it up.
Okay, so you get a goal that your robot has to accomplish.
Yep.
Right.
And this year's game was to take these gray totes like this and stack those, and then there's also some green recycle bins and pool noodles that you could put on top of that, but we chose just to go with this little simpler task of just doing the gray totes and being specific to that job.
Now, did they tell you how many you had to stack?
Yeah, they give you a scoring thing. They give you a boundary. You got a whole rules sheet that you got to go through and look at. It's just like learning a new sport every year. Be like if you had no clue about basketball and trying to find the ins and outs of it all. But they give you everything that you need to be able to score and do everything that you should do when you get to competition. Just it changes every year.
Okay, so let's talk Northern Michigan, Traverse City competition, that one. How many teams competed?
At Traverse City, and just like all of them here in Michigan, there's 40 teams in each district. And so while you're there at the competition, you get aligned with 2 other teams to compete against another alliance of 3 teams. And you go around and get mixed and matched all the way through for 12 matches. And this year what you had to do was just have an average score high enough, and each alliance got the average of whatever they scored. So it wasn't just us doing the scoring, it was our 2 teammates as well. So once you have that all aligned, then you go to pick your teams at the end, and there's 8 of the top teams will pick like through a snake draft, and what they end up doing is picking, you know, their own alliance, and they compete with that one till the bitter end, and the winner is the last team, you know, that scored the highest. So
what have been some previous year's challenges?
In the past, last year's challenge was to take a exercise ball, and you had to compete, and this was more of a regular game where you had interaction between robots. So last year we had to have bumpers. This year you don't see any bumpers on this machine, but you competed 3-on-3, and you had to take that ball, pass it from robot to robot, and then shoot it through a goal that was about 8 foot high. The year before that was a frisbee thrower, that you had to shoot frisbees through a goal, and again you were competing against teams. It was more interaction that way. Our very first year was called Logo Motion, and you had to take these inflatable logo symbols of the first logo and place them up on hooks that were at different heights. So it's been a challenge every year, and every year it seems like the challenges get more and more difficult, but it's been fun. It's some of the hardest fun you'll ever have is what they say. So
how did your team do this year?
First competition we went to, and we worked our kinks out. We didn't do as well as we had hoped, and the second competition we came back, refined our machine, and when we were at Grand Valley we ended up finishing on the second place alliance. So we went from just kind of being there to being one of those top teams, and it was a pretty good feeling.
I think the competition is pretty tough.
Oh, very tough. You know, Traverse City had some good teams there, but when we went to Grand Valley, you were competing against last year's world champion, some former state champion teams. So it's kind of coming where the big boys come to play, you know, there. So it was kind of fun.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Paula Jasper, My News 26 in Reed City.